Hey.
Okay, we'll call this meeting to order at 7 o'clock. First up, adoption of the agenda. Is there any questions on the agenda? If not, could somebody move to accept? Councillor Cutler. All in favor? Carried. Regular meeting minutes, September 13th, 2021. Any problems, errors, or omissions?
No, I thought everything looked great. I'll make a motion to accept the minutes from September 13th as provided.
All in favor? Carried. Okay, first up, request for decision. Intermunicipal water agreement. Abe, give us a rundown.
Sure. So we're actually asking for a couple of things in this. We're asking for approval of amended rates in the intermunicipal water, wastewater, and testing agreement that we have with the MD. We're asking for approval of those amended rates, and then we're going to be asking for first, second, and third readings of our master rates bylaw, because those rates are now going to refer to that bylaw and be contained in that bylaw, some of those rates. So let me run down why we're having this request for decision, the change in the rates. This agreement was signed with the MD in 2018. At the time it was signed, we were providing water, wastewater services, and maintenance services to the MD and to some residents in the MD. The water rates at the time were 2 times the municipal rate. Over the next few years, the town of Claresholm adjusted their rates to account for infrastructure replacement and costs. And in so doing, those rates increased, and so too did the rates for the MD, according to this agreement. A couple of months ago, the MD requested that we have a review of this and change the rates. We have a similar water agreement with Granum, and in there the rates are cost plus 5%. And this was what was recommended that we do. So administration has looked this over and has a few changes. Cost plus 5% for the water rates. That requires amending Schedule H of the water agreement. As well, just got to find it here. Here we are. Okay, so water services will be cost plus 5%. And it's detailed in the schedule what the costs are that we incur. So there's something to base those costs on for the MD. As well, wastewater services. There's a new some new provisions in here for wastewater services. We're still going to charge a flat rate, and the consumption costs for wastewater services will be cost plus 5% as well, which actually results in a very small savings to the MD with that. The annual fee service, if you follow down in testing and maintenance service fees, proposed to stay the same. We're proposing that emergency callouts be adjusted slightly from $88 to $89.31. And that the third-party contractor repair and maintenance be adjusted $53.70 from $44 an hour to $53.70 an hour, and that covers our costs for our workers. And then we're proposing Schedule I, that same change from $44 to $53.70. That change. We're proposing for 2.2, 4.2, and 5.3. This is for an hourly service rate for maintenance and inspection and repair. What's outside, we give the MD several hours that's included in the service every year. If there's hours outside of that, we're proposing those rates go from $44 to $53.70. The MD has approve these changes. It's already gone to their council, and they have approved this. So it's here tonight to Clare's Home Council for discussion.
Sounds good.
Counselor Cutler.
So Gabe, I just needed clarity. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, I just needed clarity. I was reading this earlier and I don't see a basic monthly charge for the hook. Like we get charged a basic water charge of 35 and then 35.70 next year. I don't see it on the MD. I see a basic monthly sewer charge and a water rate and a sewer usage charge, but I don't see a basic rate charge on that yellow box.
Basic, sorry, Councilor Cutler, basic rate charge for what?
For just the water. Like we have a basic water charge of $35 a month,
Right.
but I don't see anything on a I see a basic monthly sewer charge.
Yeah.
But I don't see a basic water charge.
Yeah, and
Town people are paying a basic charge. Why isn't the MD paying a basic charge?
well, I don't think that was part of the original agreement, was to charge that basic charge. I think it was just a consumption charge. We never had that charge in the first place.
So by this, the MD will only be paying 5% more than our own residents,
Yeah,
That's
but
correct.
but what about maintenance of the water line to the vault? And who owns the
Why I
vault
wonder why
that
there
the
isn't a
meter's in?
basic charge.
Well, that's the same, that's what I'm getting at. Like, who does the maintenance of the water line to the vault where the meter is for the MD? And whose vault is it?
It's a good question.
And then I would ask the same thing about the Grantham water line, because if we're providing the service, and I know we provide the water line to the vault, and I believe we own the vault to where the Grantham meter is.
We do.
I'm positive we own it, yeah. So why is there at 5% cost, like Councillor Cutler pointed out, our residents are paying a fee that covers replacement and repair? Why is that not incorporated into this? I think that's, like, initially it was a lot, they were paying a lot more per cube.
Yeah.
Which would have covered all that. But now if we're going to reduce it, I think, going back to what Councillor Cutler said, I mean, we're paying a basic service to put money in the bank to replace that. Should they not be also doing that?
Yeah, and it is contained in this agreement in Schedule H in the rates. It is administration, operation, and maintenance is covered in that cost. That covers all of our costs plus 5%.
Yeah, but it's not covering replacement.
I'm just a little worried that if we're, like you're saying, the water rate is 2.184 for this year and 2.226 for next year. I mean, that's 5% above our water rate, or is that including maintenance?
That's including maintenance. And Brad Burns just texted me and he said, we own the line to the vault and the MD leases the booster station.
Okay,
Thank you, Mr. Burns, for your attention.
so we are paying the maintenance. Like, if something happens to that line, we got to be saving to replace it. Is that correct? And you're saying there's enough in these rates to cover that?
There is.
Okay. My next question on this would be on your hourly rates to the MD. Do you have built into that a yearly increment up? Because our town staff gets 2% per year increases in cost, and that'll increase this cost 2% per year.
Yeah, and so part of our regular this kind of due diligence of maintaining this contract will be to assess those every year. It's built into the contract that if we plan to change rates, that we just have to provide notification. And that's actually how this came up in the first place, is the MD was reviewing their rates and asked that we adjust things. And so moving forward in the future, we will just adjust accordingly and advise the MD accordingly.
Councillor Cutler?
So, okay, and I just thinking off the top of my head, I know we talked earlier about it costing 2.16 for us to make a cubic meter of water. And if you times 2.16 by 0.05, that's what's giving you your 226. I'm just worried that there's no cost in there to recover the cost of the lines and the maintenance, those types of things that the town people pay a flat rate at, that the MD aren't paying a flat rate at, that we're maintaining. I have a concern over that. Like
And you can, and Abe, you're contending that, so the math works out that there is no contingency in there for replacement then.
now that's the way I did the math. I'm not the water guy or the other guy. Yeah, that's just,
No.
I know it was like $2.16 to make a cubic meter of water.
And that's the question then.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's my concern with this layout.
Well, and I can take this back to Blair and talk to Blair about that. This doesn't have to be decided upon tonight if council's unclear, because I'm not as familiar with the water rates and the costs. So council would prefer I can bring it back and talk to Blair and get more information.
Think it's best to have that clarity. Bring it back.
I would appreciate that.
Okay,
Thank you.
so can we have a motion to move this to the next agenda? Councillor Carlson. All in favor of moving this to the next agenda? Opposed? Carried. Okay, we're onward and outward. So number 2 becomes redundant.
That's correct.
Number 3, correspondence, the Honorable K.C. Madu, Minister of Justice and the Solicitor General, the Royal Canadian Mounted Police. Abe.
Yeah, so there's a response here from Casey Madu, the Honorable Casey Madu, Minister, in response to some correspondence that we sent to the Premier. There's actually not of information in here after reading it. It's acknowledging that they've received the correspondence and that they ratified the collective agreement. And I think there's not really a lot of indication on what's going to become of that ratification.
That's exactly what I got out of it. They're
Yeah.
saying that they would like to not pay that, but they've got no guarantee that they won't be paying it. So.
Yeah.
I guess we'll just take this for information at this time.
Mhm.
Number 4, correspondence. Mayor Joe Tennant, Town of Crossfield, changes to the Criminal Code and Firearms Act. Hey,
Yep, and so this one is in response to the proposed changes to the Criminal Code and the Firearms Act that will allow municipalities to create bylaws to police, I believe it's handguns, and create provisions that regulate handgun ownership. And so there is concern expressed in there about municipalities not really being having the proper tools to adequately police that as well. There's concern that it's not doing anything to actually solve the problem of illegal handguns out there, the changes. carried out by the federal government.
Any comments?
No,
We just take this for, I mean, I have to totally agree with them. It's not our place to be putting regulations on where, because what they're talking about is transport permits to go from their homes to gun ranges. We do have an active gun range in town, so those permits are necessary to whatever their membership is. But I do not see how that should be passed down to municipalities to be regulating that when we don't have any access to the information from beforehand. I mean, that's part of the gun registry and part of the Attorney General's department. But I don't see us doing anything about this. Anybody want to write a letter, or
no,
I think we'll just take it for information then. We good with that? Okay, we'll take it for information. Number 5, correspondence. Mayor Terry Leslie, Town of Sundre, the Royal Canadian Mounted Police retroactive pay. We've discussed this. We've sent our letter stating that we don't want to pay it either. The Honorable Minister Madu has sent his I don't know letter. So I think we'll just take this for information also.
Yeah.
Number 6, Mayor Terry Leslie, Town of Sundre again, the code of conduct letter that we sent out. Let me find it. This is support of it. I've actually heard quite a few mayors, unfortunately not through emails, but I've had 4 phone calls on it from different mayors backing us 100% on that letter. So I think it went across fairly well in Alberta. But again, we put it out there. We're waiting for a reply from the government. I think we take this for information unless somebody's got something they want to add to it.
No.
No, it's all worded good.
Okay, we'll take it for information. Number 7, request for tax penalty forgiveness. Abe.
Yep, so we have a resident request for tax penalty forgiveness. And there is a chain of correspondence here with the residents signing up to e-billing, both for utilities and for taxes. And at one point, this resident asked to no longer have the e-billing for the utilities. The wasn't explicitly stated to claw that back or cancel that, rather, for taxes as well. So the taxes went out by email. The resident said they did not get the notice. I'm guessing they don't check their emails very often. And so they wrote a letter to council requesting that the tax penalties get forgiven. And so there is both a bylaw and a policy. The bylaw outlines the penalty, or sorry, the taxes due date and the penalties. And the policy outlines that basically there is no forgiveness for late tax payments for penalties. And so this letter has come to council though. So it's your conversation, your decision.
I'd like to first off say that I'd like to have seen this letter redacted a little bit with names not on it. I'm afraid we're in complete violation of FOIP by having those names there. So I would like that noted for future.
That's noted.
And then next off, we've all faced this before. I don't see how we could forgive this. They were emailed their notification. They received their utilities by notification. The fact that they didn't look at their email is not a, I mean, they were paying their utilities all along. So I think we're setting a precedent if we do forgive it. What do you guys think?
Never done it before. Don't think we should be doing it now. Sets a precedent.
And I feel like, yeah, administration has done their part, due diligence all the way through, and we have bylaws for a reason and should be standing behind them. I think all the I's were dotted and T's crossed.
Okay. Would somebody like to make a motion to deny this request?
I'll make that motion.
Councillor Schultz. Question?
Moved by Councillor Schultz to deny the request for forgiveness of penalty of $219.35 for tax roll number 104770000.
All in favor? Carried. Number 8, request for direction, proposed procedural bylaw amendments. Abe.
Yeah, so last council meeting, we received approval to upgrade our streaming technology facilities at the office here to facilitate streaming and remote attendance. And according to the bylaw, we are allowed to attend, council is allowed to attend the meeting remotely or electronically, only in extenuating circumstances. I believe to maximize the new technology and to facilitate more electronic attendance, which is something that is permitted through the MGA, council should consider amending the bylaw. I'm not sure what conversations you had when you amended it originally. So at this point in time, I'm just looking for some direction on what council wants to do with this. If it wants to keep that wording of extenuating circumstances in there, specifically the extenuating circumstances read a serious situation that is affecting multiple members of council and the community as a whole on a large scale that is outside council's general control. So that's a pretty significant emergency or pandemic, what we're currently dealing with. If we were to amend the bylaw to allow remote or electronic attendance, councillors who perhaps are sick or can't come in, or who are perhaps out of town and would like to speak to an important item outside of pandemic, would be able to do that and participate in the meeting. And I think that would be a good way to maximize that technology. However, again, I'm looking for direction from council. And one more thing, I have included potential what that amendment might look like in there for your consideration.
Anybody got some thoughts on this?
I like the idea of having the opportunity to electronically join if we're out of town or if we're away doing some other things and not just being extenuating circumstances. I mean, if it's in the MGA that these kind of communications are approved, then I don't see why it has to be just an extenuating circumstance.
I would agree with that, just because also, I mean, as the pandemic hopefully lightens in the future and we're still maybe requiring masks, it gives opportunity for people that, you know, just don't like to wear the mask to attend until that falls by the wayside. Because it's no longer extenuating. I mean, it's just a personal choice. But I think it's an important personal choice. You should have a choice. So we should amend this, I think, so it includes everybody and all their feelings. And also, if somebody is, if we have a problem with quorum, it's no longer a problem because you can zoom in.
Yeah, and I think I see a lot of the subcommittees going this way too, with just making sure that everybody can be there via telehealth or telecommunications so that we can meet quorum at times.
Well, there's a lot to be said for fear right now and people not wanting to attend meetings, and I just think we should accommodate everybody.
That, and in the end, it'll be more cost effective if we've got this in place now, less traveling for many of the other subcommittees.
Well, and that's the other thing. A lot of our delegations can come by Zoom. Our planner from Lethbridge could stop traveling up here and do it by Zoom 80% of the time.
Yeah, I agree.
Zoom has become a large part of our life, whether we like it or not. Any other feelings on it?
No, I'd just be repeating what Councillor Cutler said, so.
Don't want to be doing that.
Not a bad agreement.
Okay. So
I'll make that motion.
that we send it back for rewriting, or do we want to use the verbiage that's on this?
No. With the proposed changes.
So you're sending it back for proposed changes, or you're using the proposed changes here that presented?
Using the proposed changes that they suggested.
That presented, okay. Any other conversation on that? Okay, we have a motion from Councillor Schlossberger. Can we hear it, please?
Moved by Councillor Schlossberger to direct administration to prepare amendments to the procedural bylaw as proposed and to bring the changes forward at the next regular council meeting on October 12th, 2021.
All in favor? Carried. Financial report, statement of operations, August 31st. Any questions? If no questions, can we get somebody to move to accept them?
I will accept the perfect records done by some great people at the administration office.
You want it worded like that? Okay. Question?
Moved by Councillor Cutler to accept the consolidated statement of operations for the month ended August 31st, 2021 as presented.
All in favor? Carried. Information brief, the AUMA convention resolutions. Abe,
The proposed resolutions for the AUMA convention are available on the website. I think it was somewhere in the neighborhood of 50 pages. So we cut those pages down to a website. Click the link and find the resolutions there. But that's there for your information.
okay. And that's homework for everybody that gets elected.
I'll check it after the election.
Number 11, information brief, the registered exemption program. Abe,
Yes. So just an update here on what the town has done with the new COVID restrictions and the registered exemption program. We have included information there on what we're doing as a town. I'm sorry, I just have some papers scattered here. What we're doing as a town, we're not declaring town facilities registered exemption program facilities. Rather, we've communicated to our user groups who use the facilities that we expect them to either follow the COVID guidelines of 1/3 capacity, masking, physical distancing for their activities, or to use the registered, the exemption program, restrictions exemption program. So we've passed that information along to our users and allowing them to, letting them know our expectations to follow provincial guidelines. The arena, the services at the arena are, they put a little bit of a kind of a kink in things, I guess, just because there is some misunderstanding or different interpretations, I guess is the right way of how the program should run. And so there is still programming and youth activities at the arena for the time being, though, until those differences between user groups or misunderstandings on how the program should run between user groups are figured out. And it's actually a minor hockey concern where it comes from, where the adult programming is on hold for 2 weeks. And until they can figure out how to move forward with minor hockey and adult programming in the same building, minor hockey has some concerns. And so for now, even if we put those adult programs on hold, there was only 1 or 2 activities scheduled. I believe those groups have been notified and trying to get more clarity. Denise is actively working with the minor hockey to get more clarity on their concerns. But the minor hockey has some concerns. If the adult groups participate, it will affect their groups. So for now, that's the gist of it, and we're working on it every day. Any questions from council on that?
I had a couple of people come forward today asking about adult rec hockey and the concerns around it and the difference between the two. So we'll work with Denise and try to get those clarities going forward. Because with the rep program, I'm thinking it's, with a little bit of understanding, it should be easy enough to make those go through without affecting too many people.
I'm hoping so as well, Councillor Carlson. There are other communities that are kind of struggling with this as well. So hopefully soon we can figure out how to get programming for everybody.
It was quickly implemented and not well worded. So yeah, I can understand how folks are concerned at times.
But Recreation's goal is definitely to have as much programming as possible, and trying to work with people as best as possible within provincial regulations, while understanding that all of these groups have their own concerns and interpretations. It's a very challenging time, and I have to tip my hat to Denise and the rec department for the great work they've done in figuring out how to get programming going. And so that's where we're at right now, and we'll update council when we find out more information.
So it's only the ice arena that's affected. Because I know the curling club, they've gone with a vaccine players only model. So they published that already. So that's solved. So I guess we'll just keep an eye on it and hopefully work something out.
Perfect.
Hey, information briefs, the CAO report. Any questions on there?
No.
No.
All clear as mud?
Looks good.
Council resolution status? Any questions on there?
No,
Okay, information items. Can I get a motion to adopt the 2 information items as presented? Councillor Carlson. Question.
Moved by Councillor Carlson to adopt the information items as presented.
All in favor? Carried. A motion to go in camera, please. Councillor Cutler. All in favor? Carried. Camera off, please.
yeah,
That's true. Okay, we're on. First up, we have, oh, just a minute. I want to pull this up so I get it right.
Sorry, we need the motion to come out of in camera.
Okay, can I have a motion to come out of in camera, please?
Gavin,
Councillor Moore, all in favor? Carried. Okay, first up is the purchase of the property the Old Town office was on by the Faith Community Baptist Church. So would somebody like to make a motion? Councillor
I'll make-
Cutler. Councillor Cutler beat you to it. Any discussion on this? Question?
Moved by Councillor Cutler to accept the offer from the Faith Community Baptist Church in the amount of $390,243.90 plus GST for the land located at 221 45th Avenue West as presented.
All in favor? Carried. Next up is a development agreement. We have the land just north of town, Kelly Matthews land, and we're looking for permission to put in a septic tank because he's well outside of our reach to get sanitary services to that lot. Any discussion on this? Would somebody like to make a motion? Councillor Schlossberger. Question?
Moved by Councillor Schlossberger to approve the request by Kelly Matthews to construct a septic holding tank at portion of Block 3, Plan 731663 for the trailer sales shop until such time as municipal services become available.
All in favor? Carried. Motion to adjourn. Councillor Zimmer. What? Whoa, that's a rarity. Okay. We are